In the shadowed corridors of history, a single artifact whispers across the centuries. A clay cylinder, unearthed in the ruins of Babylon in 1879. Its ancient cuneiform writing, pressed into the damp earth by decree of King Cyrus of Persia, stunned archaeologists and theologians alike. For here was a piece of history that not only confirmed the words of the Hebrew prophets, but also ignited a code, a pattern, embedded in the very fabric of time. This is the Cyrus Code. Long before the world knew his name, the prophet Isaiah inscribed it onto scrolls. "Cyrus, my shepherd," declared the voice of God, foretelling the rise of a pagan monarch who would shape Israel's destiny. More than a century before Cyrus drew his first breath, his path was etched in prophecy, a feat akin to predicting a world-shaking event generations in advance. As the cylinder rotated under the harsh lights of discovery, it revealed the fulfillment of Isaiah's words, the pagan king who would liberate the Jews and command the rebuilding of Jerusalem. Yet the Cyrus Code is far more than a relic of the past. It is a divine countdown, a blueprint whose final act is set to unfold in our own tumultuous era. The rise of ancient Persia has become the shadow of modern Iran, a nation not merely known for its regional ambitions, but cast in the role of the ultimate antagonist in a drama that has spanned millennia. Every headline, every missile test, every diplomatic standoff echoes with the thunder of prophecy as the timer ticks toward zero. Consider the staggering precision of the name prophecy. Isaiah, writing in the 8th century BC, called out Cyrus by name, a ruler not yet born, whose empire would not exist for another 100 years. Imagine for a moment someone in the 1850s naming the architect of 9/11, and you begin to grasp the magnitude of this prediction. It is as if history itself bends to the script written by an unseen author. The evidence is not merely biblical. The Cyrus cylinder, now displayed in the British Museum, records the very decree that set the Jewish exiles free, matching the account in the opening verses of the book of Ezra. The liberation of Jerusalem was not a coincidence, but the deliberate fulfillment of a divine agenda. And this agenda, according to the prophets, is not yet complete. From Cyrus to Xerxes, from Darius to Khamenei, the rulers of Persia have marched to a rhythm set by prophecy. While Cyrus rebuilt Israel, the current regime in Iran vows to destroy it. The symmetry is chilling. A restoration, followed by the threat of annihilation. 2.5 millennia later, the ancient script is still being read, and the final act is about to begin. But what is Iran's endgame? The answer lies in the cryptic scrolls of Ezekiel, where the prophet describes an alliance led by Gog of the land of Magog, joined by Persia, Cush, and Put. This coalition, scholars believe, points directly to modern Iran and its newfound partners, Russia, Turkey, and others. Ezekiel's vision is not one of mere politics, but of a cataclysmic conflict, an end-times war that will engulf the Middle East and reverberate around the globe. Recent events leave little room for doubt. In June 2025, the world watched in horror as Israel conducted a series of surgical airstrikes against Iranian nuclear and military installations, Fordow, Natanz, Parchin, crippling Iran's infrastructure and eliminating key figures in its nuclear program. The Iranian response was swift and brutal. A barrage of over 150 ballistic missiles and a swarm of attack drones rained down upon Israeli territory, pushing the region to the brink of all-out war. The countdown had accelerated. The International Atomic Energy Agency now confirms the unthinkable. Iran, using advanced IR-6 centrifuges, is enriching uranium at a pace never before seen, inching ever closer to the 90% threshold required for nuclear weapons. The shadow of Ezekiel's fire looms large. Is this the conflagration the prophet foresaw? The mushroom cloud that would signal the world's descent into chaos? Yet prophecy is not mere prediction. It is pattern recognition, a decoding of ancient symbols in light of modern events. Consider the clues. Ezekiel's hooks in the jaws, now seen in Putin's oil deals with Tehran, the silence of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, Sheba and Dedan mirroring the prophecy's ambiguous watchmen, the 7 years of burning fuel eerily matching Daniel's 70th week, and the grim reference to Gog's grave, a possible nod to battlefields in modern Turkey. But the puzzle deepens. Within Iran, a deeper, more mystical belief drives the nation's leaders. Top ayatollahs await the return of the Mahdi, the hidden 12th Imam, Islam's Messiah, whom they believe will be summoned by chaos and war. Military drills simulate his arrival with electromagnetic pulse weapons. Clerics teach that the destruction of Israel will hasten his coming. Former President Ahmadinejad once declared, "The Mahdi will come soon if we make chaos." In their eyes, every escalation, every provocation is a step toward destiny. Yet the Bible offers a grave warning. The scriptures describe a deception so profound that even the elect could be misled. A beast from the earth, rising with the voice of a dragon, masquerading as a Messiah. The Mahdi narrative, the drive to trigger apocalypse, is not fulfillment, but counterfeit, a dark mirror to the hope of redemption. As the digital clock of prophecy counts down, 7 signs converge. Russia and Iran's hypersonic arsenals recall Daniel's vision of chariots swirling like a whirlwind. Hezbollah's arsenal of missiles echoes Psalm 83's gathering storm. Israel's Leviathan gas field lines up with Ezekiel's great spoil. The rise of digital currencies and AI drones parallel the technological prophecies of Revelation. Global famine and economic collapse match the apocalyptic horsemen, and the Persian Gulf teeters on the edge as Isaiah's watchman peers into the night, awaiting the next blow. The Cyrus Code began with liberation, a pagan king anointed to set captives free. But the story ends in judgment, as the final scrolls are unsealed. Yet even now, hope remains. The same pages that predict the darkness also promise deliverance. For as 1 Thessalonians declares, the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel and the trumpet of God. The rapture, the rescue, awaits those who heed the warning. The signs are here. The hour is late. The blueprint is unfolding before our very eyes. The Cyrus Code is activated. The time to choose is now. Final warning. The Cyrus Code began with redemption, but ends with judgment. Yet tonight, there's still hope, because the same scroll that predicts Iran's war promises your rescue. 1. Thessalonians 4:16-17. Glowing over rapture imagery. Pulsing like share. Graphics with missile countdown overlay. This video will be censored. Smash like, subscribe, and share immediately. Comment Cyrus if you see the signs. The clock is ticking, but the king is coming. The Cyrus Code activated. Throughout history, the faces of empires and movements have served as powerful reminders of the human stories behind prophetic events. From the resolute countenance of King Cyrus, who defied the odds to fulfill a divine mandate, to the determined leaders of today, each image reflects a chapter in the unfolding narrative. By looking into the eyes of those shaping history, we are reminded that prophecy is not just ancient text. It is lived and experienced by real people in every generation.